All right, so this is, thank God it's Thursday for the Gauntlet Hangouts. And this is me, again, working with quick starters from various games that I want to play. And so this is Cryptomancer, which came out just recently. And it's essentially, it's fantasy hacking with, elves and information security and all of that. I'm going to be running this. My name is Lowell. I'll be with us, Jason, and Michael, and Sherry. And I just want to say a couple of things about the game before we get started. One of the things is that we're working from the module that's at the back of the book, so spoilers. And the other thing is that one of the interesting things about this game is it has a lot of long play tools. Lot of mechanics that focus on doing a longer spy campaign. So there's a lot of stuff we're not going to be hitting in the course of 2 sessions, but I really hope we'll be able to delve into the setting, because I think the setting really sells this game and some of the magical technologies that are going on. As with any of the games that I run, we will be using the X card. Michael, are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so essentially you can either send me a chat, or you can do this if we hit something that you're uncomfortable with, just so you are aware of that.
Awesome.
So the basic mechanic of this is that whenever you go to do something, you're rolling 5 dice, and there'll be a task number, and that's either 4+ for essentially trivial task. A challenging task is 6 or better, and difficult task is 8 or better. So you look at the particular number you have above the skill, 3 or 4 usually. That's how many D10s you roll. And then the rest of that 5-die pool is made up of D6s. And so you're always going to be rolling those 5 dice. Anything that comes up as a 1 on the D10s, or a 1 or a 2 on the D6s, what are called the fate dice, they're a botch, like in old World of Darkness. They cancel a success. And you count successes. Essentially, you're trying to get at least 1 success for a marginal success. More successes, better. There is a mechanic to ignore the botches and the fate dice, but I'll talk about that later. So we've got 5 different characters available here in the Cryptomancer folder that I've put out there. 2 humans, 2 elves, I think, or no, yeah, no, 3 humans, a dwarf and an elf, as I count badly. There we go. We
Walk into a bar.
Yes. So does anybody have a preference? One of the things about them is they all have really interesting magic and talents on them that kind of are the ways they get around particular intrigue problems and things like that. So is anything there that any of those that grab you?
I haven't had a chance to read any of them yet, so sure. I'll go last.
Okay.
I am. I stupidly closed the tab and now I have to pull it up again. So hold on a second.
Absolutely.
Give me 1 minute. Okay. So that sounds like Sherry, you're going first.
Oh, okay.
She printed out the sheet, so she's looking at them.
Yeah, exactly. I've been looking at them. Let's see here. Well, they're all awesome, and they all have really different ways of approaching the cryptomancy. So these are a really nice set of characters to choose from, which makes it very hard to choose. Let's see here. I think that the one I always like, if I've never played a game before, is a mix of magic and hitting things. And that looks like Rook.
Okay.
So I will try Rook.
Okay.
Jason, did you find one you liked yet?
No, I'm still thumbing through them. What's the Lowell, in terms of the setup, are we all going to be like together, or
Absolutely.
Are we going to be okay? All right.
Yeah, you are going to be an active cell that has worked together
Okay.
with a very particular reason why.
Okay. All right. And with that in mind, let me look for just a little bit more, and then I'll be ready.
I feel like I'm at a restaurant and I know the waiter's going to be coming around soon.
I don't know what this menu says.
I looked at them earlier, but and then I kind of basically
a lot
forgot,
of detail
so,
on
yeah.
It's one of the things is that the sheet actually looks a little more complicated than I think it actually is.
Oh yeah, no, I'm trying to I can't, because they have like kind of strange names. It's hard to like quickly intuit what each of them are, like kind of.
Well, I think 3 of the 4 start with D too.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to go with. I want the elf, the Aka elf.
All right.
Okay. I think I like the look of Deltra.
Okay.
Human.
All right, and it's got the glamour chameleon. All right. Okay. So you can see that there are skill lists, and what's important is the number above the list of a skill. So whatever is in the circle above, say knowledge, there is how many D10s you're rolling. So from that, you can get a real strong judgment. The numbers in the bigger circle there, that's actually when I try to do something to you, that's my target number for affecting you. So the higher, the better. So like if you have a speed of 8 and you're dodging, you're really hard to hit when you're dodging. So that's the basics there. And you can see that there's health points that's under power and mana points that's under resolve. And then everything else you can kind of see and go, okay, I'm going to try and use this, and we'll go for it. I don't want to dwell on going through all of this. But if at any point you have any questions, stop me, and we'll answer that because we're kind of working through the rules.
Sure.
So I want to quickly summarize the setup from that cheat sheet very quickly, essentially to refresh it for you, and also to kind of talk to anybody who might be watching this. This is a world with 3 major peoples. We have dwarves, elves, and humans. The dwarves are, of course, in the mountains, and they are clannish and battle each other. It has a little bit of the echo of Dragon Age there. The elves, they're kind of odd and a little bit isolationist, but they're also the ones that make magical drugs. And that whole industry is what's kind of destroying their ecosystem, but it's also getting them great wealth and power. And the humans are somewhere in between. They act as kind of a go-between between the other 2 peoples. In this world, there are a couple of magical technologies that are very important, one being shards. Essentially, there's a gemstone. The dwarves have control of this, and you break off pieces from a single crystal, and then all of those pieces connect to one another. They become what's called a shard net. And with that, you can instantly communicate with another person across any distance. And you do that by essentially projecting communications into the net while you're holding one of those shards. So tons of people have these different networks of shards. The larger the number of shards in a network, the longer those communications, which are called echoes, remain in it. So if we have a shard network of a dozen people, those messages are going to stay in there for about 12 hours. If we've got hundreds of people, they're going to stay in there for longer. So that's a really important thing. There's actually a massive thing called the Shardscape that all these pieces are all over the world. It's like the big internet. The echoes stay there. People go dive into it to find things out. Now, paired with this is the idea of cryptomancy. And a lot of people have this ability. They've trained themselves. It's a very basic magical ability that people can learn. Basically, cryptomancy means that you can encrypt a communication, and you can do that in one of 2 ways. You can encrypt a communication such that it's tied to a particular passphrase, a key phrase, and that means written communication or verbal communication. When you do that, if the person that is present and looking at that communication or hearing it has ever heard that passphrase done in that order, then it instantly deciphers for them. So those passphrases can be heard by somebody who's around, so you want to be careful about that when you're passing them. It's a real basic communication thing. And so passphrases are done around to encrypt stuff. They can get lost, all of that. Now, passphrases don't have like an ID tag to them. So anybody can learn them, anybody can figure things out. The other kind of encryption is called true name and encryption. And basically what it is everybody has a true name and a soul key. And so that is very specific. You can pass on your true name to someone, but you can't pass on your soul key. So if essentially when someone hears a communication that's encrypted with their true name, they decrypt it. They pick it up. And then if you encrypt something with your soul key, someone who knows your true name can decrypt it. So one of the things is it establishes, at least for the soul key side of things, a very specific who has that. So true names are hugely valuable. So those are some of the basic things, and that makes a difference in terms of doing infiltration and figuring out how security works and so on. The only other thing is you can't encrypt within an encryption. You can do code phrases and things, but you can't double encrypt. There's a bunch of other little fangly stuff on there, but I don't want to worry about that. There's some interesting stuff about golems that carry multiple shards and do bridges, and there are crypto admins that keep a registry, and we'll talk about that later. So there's a lot of cool stuff in here. The problem this world has is that there are all this passage of information, this magical access and developments, and that's created a real change in the balance of power. And at some point in the past, a cabal of powerful mages got together and, using dwarven technology, built a whole set of predictive engines. And this group, they're called the Risk Eaters. And the Risk Eaters, they want to keep things going as they are. They want to keep balance. They want to keep things the way they are, the way they want them. And to do that, they eliminate anyone who might rock the boat. And sometimes they do that after the person has rocked the boat, but with their predictive engines, they can also tell who might be a problem in the future. And when they spot those people, they send out assassins. They will, bounty hunt. They'll destroy reputations. They will try to destroy those targets. And targets may not know why. They probably don't know why. They may not have been involved in anything. So it is very much a pre-crime approach from these Risk Eaters. And you three have been targeted by the Risk Eaters. Okay. And you are on the run. Now, the Risk Eaters are kind of known at the higher level, but they're still a shadowy organization. The people who are in the know about them. In the place that you are at, you have gained a measure of protection from a patron, or at least a person who has given you some shelter, and that's where you're going to start out, kind of owing that person a debt, and him asking you for a favor. Any questions about that stuff?
I think it'll probably come up when we start playing.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, I've just done what we call an info dump. So there you go.
I think I've got a handle on it. It seems like enough to go on. So.
And there's a lot of very cool things within that setting, some implications.
I just realized that my name is Akka. I am not an Akka elf.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was like a category of elf or something. I didn't realize that was my name.
So you've had a chance to kind of maybe look at your characters and think about what they're like. So we're going to go in order of who picked. So Sherry, you've had a chance to look there at Rook. Tell us what the others know about Rook, how you're imagining her, what she's good at.
Rook knows magic, and that's the thing that you know. And she collects things that will help her know more things. And she has a nasty looking weapon. It's a big old club. She calls it persuasion. But she's not that strong, really. But she carries herself like she knows what she's doing and she's not going to be pushed around. And let's see. And the other human will probably recognize that she carries herself a lot like a constable or something like that. So she's like that. She's kind of flirtatious because she's used to getting things because she's not bad looking. So she uses that to get what she wants, and she'll use force to get what she wants.
Awesome.
How's that?
I like it. And Jason, Akka, is that the name you want to go with?
Oh, Akka's fine, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So so Akka, I think she's principally driven by her passions. I think she's the kind of individual who burns really hot on something, and goes to the max, but then like maybe switches to another thing, right? Like at a certain point. I think she cares about, I think she thinks that what she's engaged in is sort of like anarchy and chaos in service of helping people who are oppressed by the system, right? Like I think she's kind of a freedom fighter, like rebel type character. Falls in love easily, passionately, intensely, and often. So
Akka's pretty certain about why she was chosen by the Risk Eaters.
I think so, right? Yeah, she's like pre-crime. What are you talking about? I know, I know exactly why they're after me.
Awesome. And Michael?
Yeah, so I see Deltra being in many ways kind of the opposite of Rook. She doesn't like to confront people. She's very quiet. I don't think you guys know much about her past. Maybe it's a little mysterious. But she prefers to do the job and leave and never be seen, so to speak, But you can tell that she has some ambition, but it's mostly related to wealth as opposed to status. If she could retire early, I think that would be ideal for her. Go find a quiet place in the country and maybe never deal with the Chardonnay again.
So when somebody sees Deltra, what's their first impression? What's their first thing they notice?
If anything, they might notice that she's remarkably unremarkable. She dresses plainly. She has fair skin, it's kind of freckled, but nothing too noticeable about her.
All right.
Are even the Risk Eaters like her?
Huh? Really?
I think that's
More like collateral damage, right?
I think that's a very scary proposition for Deltra because she's gone her whole life without anybody taking notice of her, and now
Oh yeah.
a dangerous element has. So,
Ooh, neat.
and she tends to wake up screaming, by the way.
Oh God.
Oh, good.
So I'm going to tell you the setup, and then I'm going to give the initial hook. I do want to say, because this is a two-part, we've got 2 sessions, and it's from a quick start in the back, I may be a little more directive than I would be in a normal game, so just bear with me on that. You are in a place called the city-state of Prontus, and there's a map in the folder that you can see. There's a great fortified city, human city, and there are settlements outside of that. The city itself is ruled by a figure known as the Patriarch, and that figure is one of the lords from the 5 noble houses. It's voted on by the other noble houses. So it's very much kind of a mercantile noble control there. To the west are the Great Mountains, the Jaws. And there are 2 different dwarven clans that hate each other, that live there, one much stronger than the other. And it kind of surrounds. And then to the east, we have Sylvetica, the section of the Elvish lands there, Great Woods. Prantis keeps control of the region around itself. And so it is a pretty powerful military. And it's a really important trade hub. Trade passes from the elves through to the dwarves and back and forth. There's a huge network of merchant deals and transit and so on. So it's an important crossroads in that regard. You have arrived here some time ago through a network of friends, essentially the cells or agents or contacts that managed to smuggle you into here. And they put you in communication with essentially one of the noble houses. And that is a house called Glower. And Glower, clearly sees your presence as instrumentalist, that you might be useful, but has offered you a measure of protection. And so right now, you 3 are in a safe house. It's underneath a gem cutters. There's a dwarf upstairs, and his name is Gumble Crag. And Gumble Crag has, given you food and kept an eye out and so on, and you've been down here for a few days. You've been supplied with a shard net for the 3 of you, and you also know that Lord Glower and a couple of his agents have other parts of that shard net. So you've probably been going out during the day, checking out the city, which is massive. There's construction all over the place here. Multi-story tenements. It's very much a have and have-not city. All of the have places are elevated, and all of the have-nots are in these great winding sections of the city with dust and dirt and the sounds of hammering all day and buckets falling and open sewers and all of that kind of thing. And as you are there, you will get a message that comes through on the ShardNet. And it's a very specific set of instructions that are given to you. And this is late in the evening. And it says that you are to go to the prayer grounds that are at Vesper Grove, which is House Glower's castle. The prayer grounds are outside of the castle. You need to be there at midnight, which is in 2 hours from now. You need to come cloaked, and you'll do what prayers you need to do, and be in that area. At that point, you'll receive further instructions about what you need to do. It is vital that you are not followed from the safe house to that location. And that's the sort of the extent of the communication that is given to you, and kind of closes off.
Cool.
So, what do you do?
Does cloaked here mean literally wearing a cloak, or is that some sort of cryptomancy?
No, that's a good question. No, cloaked means to disguise your identity, just generally a cloak.
Okay. Cool.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Do we have each other's true names so that we can use the ShardNet privately?
that is entirely up to you.
Okay.
If you want to have that as an established fact that you three know each other's true names, or we can say that you have a fairly secure passphrase. I'm fine either way.
Well, one of Deltra's talents or spells requires knowing others' true names, so maybe that would be beneficial to us.
Are they the sorts of spells that are meant to like aid us, I guess? Or?
Yeah, like I can share my vision with someone if I know their true name.
Yeah.
So
That's useful.
That is handy. And I'm just a hoarder, so I like true names.
Okay.
You collect them, gotta catch them all, right?
True name decks. So let's take that as an established fact that because of your shared problem, you have
Sure.
knowledge of each other's true names. So guys can pull cloaks together as you're kind of getting yourself set and planning out how you want to get to there, how you want to split, and so on. You will hear there's knocking at the door of the shop upstairs. It does sound like Grumble Crag is talking now with some people at the front door.
Would that seem unusual to us, or?
It seems a little late for that.
Okay.
It is just a couple hours before midnight. So what do you do? Rook, let's start with you.
I want to hear this.
Okay.
So, so essentially, I will position myself so that I can. Essentially, we should probably start positioning ourselves around, since we can use the shard net to communicate, where some of us start setting out and looking around to make sure we're not being followed, and I'll see if I can listen in, or if someone else has awesomer skills for that, that's fine too, but I'm like, I want to hear what's going on.
Can I ask a question, Lowell?
Absolutely.
Sorry, I mean to cut you off, but
No.
I just want to clarify, under talents and spells on the character sheet, do I have all of those things?
Yeah.
Okay, because
Yes.
that means I have a goblin.
Oh,
I think that means you can call a
Oh,
goblin.
so he's not just always, okay, I have to actually do the spell or
Yeah.
whatever. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
but he's a familiar, is he?
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
he's a familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. Those MP things allows you to essentially summon or affect things of the animal kingdoms and so on.
Got it. Okay, all right. All right. Sorry, I'll let you get back to what Brooke was doing.
No, there's the stairs that come up from the basement, I assume, go into a back room. There is a back door to this place. You move up. It sounds, and Rook, you actually, this is sort of familiar to you. It sounds like there were a couple of constables at the front door, and they are giving Grumble Crag a kind of a hard time asking for money.
Oh, it's protection money time. And how
I
is
think that
Grumble?
might be it.
Does Grumble Crag seem like this is familiar to him in his response?
He is definitely responding as if this is, oh my God, this is again, we got to do this then thing. Okay, and he's dragging it out. Let me see where I put my change purse. Oh, God, not over here. Oh, and he's making noise. He's knocking things around. Oh, it's not over here.
Have you seen Goodfellas, Lowell? I just watched it the other day, and you're totally reminding me of Maury from Maury's Wigs.
Okay.
Goodfellas. Go, because he gets shaken down, and he sounds just like that.
So this does seem like Grumble Crag. This is very much what he's used to in this town, and he clearly wants to make sure that they're not trying to come in.
Okay. All right, then it is our duty to head out. So, essentially, I will throw my cloak up and I will start out. And essentially what I'm hoping that we can do is I'll go a block, and then another person who's watching, kind of comes up behind to make sure we're not being followed, and then behind, and then we kind of leapfrog down to where we're going.
But what about Grumble Crag, though? We're just going to leave him to deal with these guys by himself?
But yeah, it's just business as usual.
I also, Lowell, just to be clear, like, are we friends
Sure.
with Grumblecrag? Like, do I
Well,
have fond feelings for Grumblecrag, or should I?
Well, he is a dwarf.
That's
So-
true, right?
So,
But is he
he's
being?
that?
Is this unfair though? Is Grumblecrag clearly being? Is he plainly being like oppressed right now?
Yes, he is. This is what the constabulary do. Is they
Okay.
they go around and they shake down people. and-
I feel very upset about this. I say, Brooke, listen, I'll be the first person to say that I don't have any particular fond feeling for dwarves, but Gumblecrag's been good to us. He's been hiding us here. He's been keeping us safe. I feel terrible. I don't think he should have to deal with those kinds of people.
Aka, the constables are the last people we want to be seen with. If anybody's going to follow us, it'll be the police. We got to stay under the radar.
And I'll look at Aka and I'll tell you what. After they leave, I'll hide his passage from them. They'll never be able to find it again.
Oh,
In fact, you'll be the only one that can find it.
I say,
But I can't do anything now. You'll have to pay a little coin, then you'll be free forever. How's that?
all right, I'll take that. That seems like a reasonable compromise.
Okay.
I say, okay, that's sure. I suppose that is how that is the wiser course of action. I probably wouldn't be in this trouble in the first place if I wasn't so impulsive.
We're very lucky. We're very lucky to have you.
Right. That's me laughing out of character. I don't think she would laugh like that.
Okay.
You two go ahead. I'll come behind and make sure nobody's following you. Nobody will follow me.
Okay. Take care.
All right.
Yep.
No, to what you were saying?
I was just going to say, I stride out. She walks out and she's in a cloak, but she still walks out, what do you say, with that sort of very casual certainty of self.
Okay, so you hit the street, give a little bit of room. Aka, what's your manner in moving around these streets?
I think I'm not dumb. I'll be cloaked as well, and I'll also kind of go out as if there's nothing unusual about any of this. The problem for Aka is going to be if I see like a poor person being harassed by someone, if I see something like that go on, it's going to be like a bad situation. So as long as I don't have anything to distract me and get my blood up, I'm okay. Cool.
All right. And then Deltra, you are the sort of the quiet figure at the very back.
Yeah, I think I pick up a couple flowers and throw them in a basket, and I walk through the higher tiers towards the lower tiers like a flower selling girl on her way back to her grimy homestead.
Okay. So let's do this. This is not as much a question of stealth as it is a question of keeping your eyes out for pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be query is what we're going to be rolling for that.
And who makes that roll? All of us, or?
Yeah, let's have all of you
Okay.
make that roll. We'll kind of pull that together.
And that would that's under wits. Okay, or knowledge.
Yes. The knowledge.
Yeah, right. So that would be 1, 2.
So, okay. All right, so let's look at this. So this is a challenging task. So we would look at you rook first, and you end up with kind of a 0 there because your 1 cancels your 9, which is success because you need a 6+. Okay. Now I want to talk about the one mechanism that the group has to reroll. effectively. And it's this. Essentially, the game system has the ability to ignore botches that are on your fate dice. You can say, I'm going to ignore those botches. But when you do that, you generate risk. And that's a sort of percentile number that goes up over time, over the campaign, and meaning that the risk eaters pick out that you're mucking with fate in different places. So for the purposes of this, the group has each session 4 times that they can use that. So just keep that in mind. All right. And let's look at Deltra. Deltra's got a success. And let's look here at Akka. You've got a success. So Rook, you're moving through, and this city is chaotic. You've been a constable, so your eyes are more kind of drawn to the craziness of the city. You see soma addicts, in the corners, and you see urchins picking through refuse piles. It's all of that stuff that you're used to, that sort of city and that kind of lawlessness a little bit that catches your attention. But it is late, and again, the streets are dark. There are some lamps and some lamplighters, but it's dim, and so not many people out. Akka, you and Deltra, you suspect that there may be somebody shadowing you. That there's this a passive shadow in one place, movements down another alley, that between the two of you, you're like, there might be someone behind us. So what's your response to that?
I think this might be a good time to. So I have a warning glyph.
Okay.
And if we can take, if Rook, perhaps, who I assume knows the city better than we do, if Rook can find us a very narrow, out of the way route that would be unlikely for people to come, and I can set the glyph down, I'll know if we're being followed for sure, right? At least we'll have confirmation of it, and maybe we can even lie in ambush or something. So.
Okay. Does that sound good to you, Rook?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is... okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I was going to say, she does have the experience as a constable. So what she would do is look for a soma dealer who's dealing out of an alley mouth, because she knows that there's a through part to that alley somehow.
Yeah.
So she knows that going down that means that there is a way through. And if that will go out in the way that she wants, that's what she would choose is one of those.
And Lowell, is it too much to say that the warning glyph might even give me a sense of what the person looks like or who they are or something like that?
All it does is warn you of a trespasser. It's
okay, so we just know
spell.
Real basic. We just know that we're warned of trespassers. Okay.
Let me check with Deltra. They're talking about this. How do you want to work within this plan? Is there anything you want to do to add to it?
Well, I know that I have an ability to kind of be a chameleon. I have some magical camouflage I can throw on, but I can only do that so many times without having a chance to rest. So I want to make sure that we're getting the best use out of that as we can. If you want to use your warning glyph as a first, if anybody goes through there, we probably know that it's just a bad deal.
It sounds like maybe possibly Rook, is the first line of defense, just finding us an alternate route, right? And then if that doesn't work, well, we'll know because the warning glyph will go off. And then I guess if we have to lie in ambush at that point, then we do. But.
Okay. So Rook, what do you think is going to be appropriate for you kind of finding an off road using your constable background? What do you think is good for that? Is that traps, or is it deception, or maybe even menace?
It sounded almost more like a social thing.
Yeah. kind of almost, so that would be under resolve, I guess? No, I don't know. That's a hard one. Maybe menace.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Let menace
try-
is a good social skill. I like bending skill descriptions around. I like the
Kinda
idea
have
that
to.
these are the places that you would take in people to threaten them in alleys, kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's
Done
have
that
you.
before? Everyone has a hobby, right?
This would be
Okay.
pretty easy for you because of your background. You need 4s.
All right. I got 1.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. And let's see. It's an opposed roll, but I'm not going to worry about that for the warning glyph. So what I'm hearing is Rook moves through. I assume Delta moves through.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're going to, what does it look like when you put a glyph up?
Yeah. No, that's good. I think. It seems like the elves are like really like flora and nature magic is like a big part of what they do, right? They've been they harness it and apparently deplete the hell out of it too.
Yes.
In this world. So I think what it is I think okay, so I want to go really. The effect will still just be that I find out that there's a trespasser, but
Right.
I think what it is I think like I have special like I have like these roses, okay, that have vines, right, and I can put them on the wall, and the vines like the thorns like crack into the brickwork or whatever, and it kind of like is there, and essentially it's just it's sort of like motion based or pheromone based or something, right? Like whenever it detects like ill intent or something, it I think at that point like it does something. Maybe it like releases a smell into the air or something that only I can detect because with my elf senses, right?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you 3 will move. You'll lay that on the brickwork and move through this alley, very isolated. This is an unusual path for you to take. You have to kind of go over a couple of things and then come back down. You break out into a couple of buildings where there's the rampways across and workers sleeping, and you kind of move along, and you don't get that far away, the 3 of you, when you will definitely, Akka, catch that scent. Someone has come past that point.
I say, can you smell that? No, of course you can't smell that. We're being followed.
Oh crap!
Rook looks relieved because she was looking at the bottom of her shoe.
It wasn't my goblin this time. I say, we're definitely being followed. I set my glyph to respond to nervous tension and to menace. But unless it's an elf, they can't smell it. They don't know that we know, so maybe we can get the jump on them.
All right, best ambush point. Take a look around here. We're in this maze of a city.
All right. Let's do query on that, or scrounge.
Where's scrounge? Let's see here. Query isn't my strong one. I would happily try scrounge. Does that seem reasonable? Does anyone have better skills for that? Because I am perfectly happy to share the rolling.
What about you, Deltra?
I have my good skills would be deception, but I think that's a little different.
Okay.
I mean, I have acrobatics. I could try to get to a high vantage point, and I have a crossbow, so that might be cool.
Okay.
That would be great once we find the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then let's have you roll Rook, and then we'll have you, Delta, check to get to that high ground.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
All right. I've got some decent.
So
Rondo.
3 successes to fade you back, into perches and places here. And Delta, are you going to try and get up onto one of these areas.
Mhm.
Let's have you do acrobatics here. Pretty simple because there's a lot of stuff to climb on here.
Right. 4 successes.
Oh yeah, so you are up, perched, balanced carefully, crossbow out. Akka and Rook, you're kind of down on ground level, and you will see a figure come out from the mouth of that alley, and he looks around, and he clearly tries to gauge which way you went, and clearly judges the direction you're going, and starts heading that way, maybe picking up the pace a little because he thinks maybe he has lost your track.
So one thing I want to check with you guys real quick, tone-wise. Are we cool with just straight out killing people? Like, would our crew be more likely to like say, "Hey, we could shoot you if you don't stop"? Like, what do you guys think?
I think I'm a big fan of a head thump, but not fatalities. How's that? I don't mind roughing someone up, but
Right. So my crossbow would kind of be last resort then.
Well, this person just might be a victim of an incredibly corrupt system, and they don't realize, like maybe they don't, they may not be intrinsically evil.
Right,
They just.
Sure.
right. So, but I think a warning bolt is probably an awesome
Okay.
way to bring them to a halt.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you want to let loose a bolt to bring them to a stop then, Deltra?
Are they close enough that we can see if we can recognize them before we shoot?
I
mean,
will
it's dark
say
and we're far away.
dark, cloak, that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'll shoot off a crossbow bolt then and try to hit near their feet, kind of ping off some brick tiles or something.
Okay. I am going to make you make the fired missile check, but just to see if you have a huge botch.
Okay. Well, I probably won't because
Okay.
I have lots of good stuff, but we'll see. So quick question. I think I rolled it the wrong way last time. If I have a
Okay.
triangle, does that
Don't have to worry
mean-
about the triangles.
Okay.
And any of the things that are marked in, that tells you that you have a talent associated with that down below.
Oh.
Okay.
That's
Well,
all
let-
that those mean.
I'll re-roll then because I think that should be 4 10s and 1 6 then.
Okay.
I thought that was an extra 10.
Oh, okay. Yeah, some of your talents allow you to ignore botches on particular skills.
Oh,
which is
okay.
Pretty cool.
So that's how
Yeah.
that works. Okay. Okay.
That's still very, very good. And it will land, and it is that sort of finality of the bolt hitting and the twang. And you'll see this figure stop, and he will, hands go up. You see he's got a shard in his hands, and he will say over your shard net, very good, very good. Lord Glower wanted me to simply see your skill and to make sure that you were following proper protocols.
So the only way for him to get on our shardnet was if he had our passphrase, I guess.
If he has one of the shards from your shard net.
Okay. Okay. So this is probably pretty legit then.
Well, unless he acquired it through some sort of treachery. We don't know that, right?
Correct.
Um,
And he will recognize that, and he will give you the keys from that Glower has given to you, and he will say, "My name is Tidhar. I am one of Lord Glower, merely assessing. You seem to be doing well."
So I'll say with the shardnet. So what now? Can we go about our business? Are you satisfied?
I am satisfied as to your skills, yes.
And turn around and go back the way you came.
He will put the shard away and keeps his hands clear so that you don't assess any threat, and he will back the way he'll turn his back to you and move away.
So how do we send private messages through the ShardNet that not everybody on the ShardNet can see? Do
So
we
you
have
can
that
say,
capability?
yeah, you say, I'm just sending it to the group. That
Okay,
you guys
so-
know passphrase and
Cool. So I'll send one to the group saying, we can't be certain that he is who he says he is. There's a possibility he could have acquired that. He could be a traitor. There's no way to know. So let's be extra cautious.
I send a message back saying, you handled yourself really well just then, Deltra. And is there like a heart emoji on this? Or
I imagine you can visualize something. Yes.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think like I think I send you that little message, and I'm like, and I send you like an image of myself going like that, like taking my measure of you, and
Send me the Snapchat through the
exactly.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think Akka is like a little like like, oh, she's pretty, she's got it going on, right? So she's so quiet normally, but man, she like totally handled herself just now. So.
Deltra's not good with receiving compliments, so she. Oh no! I'm not used to being tailed. We shouldn't have been tailed in the first place. Oh, but thanks, I guess.
Onward.
There's that
Onward.
awkward silence that happens in the shower.
That was
It's like, oh God. Not again, huh? We are not going to stop and buy roses. I'm sorry.
Well, I've got some of those, but they just smell funny. I should set it to like when you're reciprocating my feelings, like it'll tell me. I'll know secretly. So.
Wow! Now I want this magic power. That would have made high school a lot easier.
So you will, with proper caution and awareness, proceed on through the city streets, through these avenues and the jumbles, past these tenements, and so on. You are certain that you are not being followed any further, and you're able to kind of keep doing that leapfrog, using the shards to communicate with one another, and moving through. And it is not that much before midnight when you will move out, sort of outside of the city gate and through these other less well-developed village areas to the grounds that are outside of Vesper Grove, and that is Lord Plower's castle, the manor. You can see that a lot of the ambient light that is around here are illuminations from the windows of that manor. And this is a prayer grove. People have dragged rocks over to kind of make sure that trees don't grow up here. It's a cleared area. It's kind of a rise. There are shrines all over the place to all of the little gods, the little household gods, to the civic gods, and so on. It's very much sort of Roman. Well, we've got all the gods. We better honor everybody, and
Right.
Anybody can have a little shrine here.
Are there lots of holidays for them?
Oh, yes. There are
So-
probably those sort of monthly official holidays when you can't do banking, and then there are official holidays when you have to do banking, and all of those kinds of
You have to do
formal.
banking.
Um,
We demand usury on this day.
Yes.
If you're a good lord, you have to hand pennies to all of your servants so they have some money to bank with.
Exactly.
and like different levels of citizenry have different holidays that they follow. So there are dozens of these shrines that are out here, some much nicer than others, some carved stone and others that are worn away. Some of them have little offerings at them. Others are clearly empty and unpopular in this day and age. And there are maybe 7 or 8 other people here spread out at the various shrines, giving homage or praying. And you arrive and kind of, are you clumping together or are you staying kind of separate? How are you doing this?
I think I would kind of split apart from the rest of the group for a minute.
I think we have the shardnet to keep us in contact, so we will continue to kind of do the leapfrog, keep an eye on one another's backs, but yeah, move around.
And I'm very superstitious, so I'm stopping at multiple altars and leaving a coin here and a coin there and a certain kind of flower for that god, and maybe a little preoccupied.
Akka, what's your relationship to the gods?
Well, I don't know much about the setting, so I'm just going to kind of make some stuff up here. But
yeah,
I think that I think that at a certain point the elves deemed themselves above the gods, right? Like we're we figured out math and magic and all that stuff. Like we didn't need the gods, right? And and so I think there's a sort of like, but doesn't mean we don't acknowledge them though, right? There's a difference between disrespecting them or not believing, and there's a difference there. So I think like I acknowledge the gods, but I definitely don't take like a reverential posture. It's more of a, I'm certain to not step in an inappropriate place on the altar, but I don't. I stand tall and I walk with an easy gait and stride.
Right.
But I do have one god that I am particularly, a human god that I'm particularly fond of, and I think it's like a human god of maybe like an equivalent to Bacchus, right? Like a pleasure god, a love god, that kind of thing, right?
Do you think that shrine is particularly well tended here?
Well tended. I don't know. That sounds loaded. I don't know what that means. I think it's one of those things where you're almost like a little embarrassed, right? Like most people would be a little embarrassed to go to be seen praying openly to this god, because it means that they're giving themselves over to certain types of carnal passions or passion or enthusiasms or emotion or whatever, right? But I don't care. I just step right up to it. And I do whatever little ablutions and rites are required when I get there. And good.
Awesome. In Rook, does Rook have a god?
Oh yeah, goddess sentries and constables. She kind of goes over and gives them a little punch in the shoulder, right?
the standard greeting.
Exactly.
Among the faith.
How you doing? And
the bro fist.
Exactly. So, and kind of gives them the nod of respect, and kind of probably does a careful circle around to the god of persimmons, because those were the ones from her village way back in the day.
Nice.
Awesome.
Akka, would you say that you might have the opinion that poor people... so I think that poor people tend to definitely have a lot of connection to the gods and do a lot of charity and donate a lot of money to that. Would you say that Akka feels like that's a form of oppression itself? That
I do, yeah. I think it's a good question. I think it's one of those issues where I think people are easily duped by because their natural tendency is to want to have an easy answer, right? And I don't think there are any easy answers, and so I do feel a little conflicted when I see very poor people passing their coins into the plate. I think that money could be, if you all pooled your resources together, you could afford to do this and this and that, right? You don't,
So dropping a coin in the goddess of destiny, the god of luck, the goddess of fate, giving them coin.
Oh, so you're doing it, right? Yeah. I see that and I realize that time is of the essence, so I drop a couple more coins into the god of passion and love's dish in order to in order so that you might view me more fondly.
Okay.
And you put aside your feelings about the divine lottery that goes on there.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you will get a communication over your shard net. You probably have your hands on the shard. It will say, there is a shrine to the god Kahil. It is a god of the harvest. If you go there, at that stone, you will see atop it that there is a stone that can be moved aside. Within it is a dead drop. There is a scroll within that space. You need to extract that scroll. There are people there undoubtedly watching that dead drop place. If there are others on site, it's likely that some of them are agents watching for that. You need to retrieve that scroll and leave and lose your tails. Return to the safe house, but make sure that you have lost your tails before you return there. After that, I will give you further instructions on the morrow.
Okay. So you said there's a stone we have to move behind the altar? Is that
If you look at the Shrine of Cahill is spotted over there, it's a couple of large stones, and from the description, it looks like there might be a space on top where you can move aside one of the rocks that's on top, and there's a space within it where objects can be concealed.
So let me get this straight, guys. They want us to steal something from their own garden. I don't know about this. This seems a little off. Something's a little fishy here. Why couldn't they just take it themselves?
Because people are watching. And if the risk eaters are involved, and they clearly think they're going to blow things up with whatever's going on, they want someone else to be in the blast.
Oh,
We're
great.
already in the blast.
And that's us, huh?
Yeah.
What if we were to cause some sort of distraction?
Oh, I don't know anyone who's good at causing distractions.
I think we could maybe cause a distraction, get everyone's attention, and then two of us could be doing that, and then the third of us can go and grab the scroll.
Okay. Or if we do something like, look like you're going over there, and then I pick a fight with you. I'm trying to prevent you from getting there.
I was thinking that maybe Deltra and I would pretend to be having a lover's quarrel.
Oh no.
In the middle of the grove, and then you could go grab it, Rook.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't want to be the center of attention, guys. I don't know.
Are you sure?
I'd much rather be the fly on the wall.
People are shy all the time, Deltra, but it's a natural way to be. It shows a certain inner resolve and strength of character. But I've seen you. You have it in you to be more
A star.
gregarious, to be focused, to be a star, to be in the spotlight. I mean, look how you handled yourself back in the alley with what are the names? With Glower's man.
Well, I was in the darkness at the time. He couldn't see me.
I say, well, this place is only lit by moonlight. I mean, I can just barely make out. I can just barely make out your face in this light, and I'm kind of like circling around and say, "You're perfectly hidden."
I think that Deltra is deeply envious of Akka, and all of this attention is like exciting but scary.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she'll go for it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do it, but I don't want to be myself. I want to be. I don't want to be recognized, of course. So I'll use my spells to be another elf. That'll make more sense, right? I could be an elf then too.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Delta. Let's do that.
Still dealing with major inadequacy issues. So cool.
So, Delta, do you want to change your appearance there?
Yeah, I
Or-
have a
okay.
talent called Glamour. Which
Okay.
says it's unopposed, challenging, and I can become someone else for a scene.
Okay. So then I think you're going to roll your deception for that.
Okay. So it says it's 3 MP, which I'm assuming
That's
is the mana points.
3 magic points. Yep.
So on my sheet, are the white dots my remaining or the black dots my remaining?
White dots are your remaining.
Oh, okay. Cool. All
You'll
right.
recover fairly quickly
Oh, okay.
with rest. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said deception, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is very easy for you to do.
Cool.
I just want to make sure that you don't botch it.
Yeah. It says
He wants you to botch it.
It says that I ignore one botch sometimes. I don't really know what that entails. I have a half a triangle.
Oh, well, what does it say under the talents?
Innocent, deception, and sleight of hand. Ignore one botch, comma sometimes.
Okay. Well, we'll say now. Let's do it for that. I don't know why it says sometimes there.
Okay.
We'll come back to that. That's a bad term on the sheet there. So you will be able to change your appearance, and then who wants to take charge of kind of setting the distraction? Is that on you, Anka?
Yeah, I'll get it going, but just real quickly, would it be helpful for Rook to have an extra set of hands, like in grabbing the scroll? Do you think?
Absolutely.
Because I can summon Dirt, and he can go in and grab the scroll.
That would be perfect, actually, because I don't think they're going to be expecting someone that tiny.
Okay. Summoning Dirt requires me to actually gather up a clump of dirt.
Okay.
And so I do that. It's a very on-the-nose sort of name.
Okay.
But it works for us.
And Dirt is your goblin?
He's my goblin, yeah.
Okay. So what do you think it looks like when you call that goblin up?
Yeah, I think what I have to do, and maybe I've already been like pre-planning this once we got the Shardnet message, right? I think I have to, it's called Whisperer. Okay. And so I think what I have to do is I have to kind of surveil the area for a little bit. And I have to occasionally like stop by trees or by, little mounds of earth or whatever, right? And I have to say, are you there? Dirt, are you there? And I have to wait for a minute. And then when there's no reply, I move on to the next thing. I'm like, Dirt, can you hear me? That goes on for some time until I finally find out where he's located. Yeah. And there he is. And I have to build essentially like a little mannequin or golem or whatever, okay. Like a homunculus of dirt.
All right. And does he come out and go into the homunculus, or does he come out and break it? What are you imagining that? I think
what it is, I build a little clump of dirt, and then I think it's like an egg, and he just like breaks his way out.
Okay. Yeah. And I imagine it's a very Ray Harryhausen sort of stop motion.
Right, yeah, claymation, right? Yeah.
And it'll go, and what do you tell it to do?
I say, do you want to RP this little?
No, just give me the instructions.
Okay, sure, yeah.
He's super excited.
I say, Dirt.
Yes.
Dirt. Look at me, Dirt.
Yes.
I have a job for you. You're going to go with this nice woman right here. Then I point to Rook. She's a human. Don't judge her for it. You will do what she says explicitly, down to the very last detail. Don't deviate, even one syllable. Do you know what a syllable is, Dirt? It's all right. And then I pass Dirt along to Rook.
Okay. So there's some movement around. You guys kind of get that set up. I assume that Deltra and Anka will move so they can do the distraction. And Rook, you're moving over towards the dead drop spot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And essentially, I will instruct Dirt to follow me. At a certain point, I will give you a sign, and I say I will tell you to go, and I need you to grab a scroll from the hole that I'm going to reveal. When I do, you grab it and you run back to Anka, but you stay hidden if you can. Stick to the tall grass, Dirt.
Right.
Stick to the tall grass.
Okay. So let's have a deception roll from you two who are causing the distraction.
Right, yeah.
Okay. And then, Rook, I'm going to have you make a stealth roll.
Okay.
How challenging is this deception?
Probably a 6+ on this.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And I guess we're both doing it. Let's see here. Deception. So I have 4 dice on that. So let's see.
I should definitely.
So you can ignore the botch there. So you just will be a failure for you.
I have 1 botch, but 3
successes.
successes, yeah.
So it probably is a little bit that Deltra is, how do I put this? She's hesitant about
Right, yeah.
this. Whereas you probably get more into the swing of it.
Right, yeah. I say, for the last time, Deidre. I think there is that pause. I catch myself. For the last time, I am not, I repeat, I am not going to make out with you right now in this grove before the gods. I don't know how many times we have to have this conversation.
Well, it's just so beautiful out and so romantic. I figured you'd be cool with it.
You've convinced me. And then, and then I think, and I think it's just like, I think it's a whole just like, I'm using a little bit of like ambient elf magic to kind of like, you know, like to make everything seem very like sweet smelling and like, you know, maybe there's even like a lilt of music or something in the air, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just getting everybody's attention, right? Because and maybe there's even somebody like a tear being shed because we've just made up.
Gosh, that totally reminds me of like middle school. No, I won't make out with you. I didn't say that.
I don't like you.
I love that.
So let's have you make that stealth roll then, Rook, while this is going on.
All right. 9, 8, 9, 10.
Wow. So you will see that you can kind of spot that the people who react kind of not how you expect. There are about 5 of them here.
Mm-hmm.
And about 3 of them, their attention is drawn by this reaction. And there's a kind of a, huh? You know, from them. But there are 2 of them that seem to have better discipline and do kind of keep an eye on the rock. But there's that moment of hesitation that allows you to pop that open and get that out of there.
Okay. And essentially what it is that all she does is she makes the quickest motion for popping it open. It's Dirt that's picking it up.
Dirt goes in there.
So there's no actual motion that suggests that she's picked that scroll up. She's merely come into contact with the rock, if that makes any sense. But
Sure,
there's no scrabbling
absolutely.
around or hand going in or anything like that.
That sounds good. So what does Dirt do with it? What are you having him do?
He was supposed to take the high grass back to Anka.
Okay. So he is running with this across
And they go, here he comes, Anka.
Okay. So what I'm doing is I actually rolled GM rolls ahead of time, so I'm crossing things out as I'm doing that, so I don't have to roll. And that.
Pro move.
So Anka, you and Delta are kind of, still in that. You can see out of the corner of your eye, dirt coming
Right, yeah.
towards you, dragging this scroll, and you will see one of those two that had more discipline has kind of stepped towards the rock, and he's looking and he's seeing some movement, and he looks over towards that. You see that he has a shard in his hand.
I'm holding the kiss a little bit too long.
I'm like back on the clock, Deidre.
Yeah.
So let's start with you, Rook. What do you want to do? You guess that there are about 5 people here. They probably have some communication between one another. They've seen that something is up.
I have something called Tracer, which is essentially lets me geocode the shard nets, geolocate them. So essentially what it is that going to give me a better sense of like how these guys are moving? Because essentially I want to cut them off so that they can't make it to dirt before he gets to on.
So I would, what that is more about is being able to kind of GPS locate where a particular shard or shard net is.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But it's a good thing to do, because then if you can keep an eye on them in the future.
On them. Then that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to ping them so that I can track them from here on out. So I will have the best chance of clubbing them into unconsciousness later.
Okay, so
I'm a fan of that tactic.
A fan of the clubbing. All right.
Yes.
And Tracer, this is going to be a trivial test for this.
Oh, okay. So, and that's, what do I use for it?
Let's look and see.
I don't see like a magic skill per se.
Yeah, this is
be under willpower.
Yeah, hang on one sec.
I'm going to ask some more questions really fast.
More questions while I'm looking it up.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do this.
Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I would take a quick bio break. Okay.
Oh, please.
I'll be right back too.
Okay. This is tremendously obscure. You would think in the magic system would say, you're going to be rolling on this. Let me look quickly under the skills. Wow, it really doesn't say. I think we have to choose an appropriate skill for that. How does that sound? Do you have tracking?
Sure. I do.
Or query, either one of those.
Okay. Well, tracking I have, and I think that actually makes sense for what we're doing. At least you said it was a GPS type thing.
Yes. That's
So
a very odd gap in the system.
Well, or it may be there and we're just not looking at the right thing.
Yeah.
So I have a 1, which cancels one of my 9th, but I still have a 10 left.
Okay, so you will be able to get a trace on that network there.
Okay.
Okay. And I will wait till Michael returns. Finish the last of this tea.
I like the system so far. I think it's pretty
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I I like that it kind of gets out of the way. It does have a lot of talents and spells. It's kind of fun when you get that.
Yeah. Well, it's combined with like a simple system. I don't mind that stuff, right? Like,
yes. Yeah. So you guys will know from the Chardonnay that Rook has tagged these agents Chardonnay so that she can trace and tell where they are. So Anka, what do you do? Assuming that Dirt is coming with this scroll here, you're still kind of locked in that embrace a little, situation shifting.
I have a spell that I don't know if it's appropriate for this situation or not, but it's called Bloom Blessing. It's an area of effect spell, and it can the effects depend on the flora that I command, but I can create calm.
Interesting.
Which might like make them back off. Does that make sense? Or
if they're here to pursue you, what it'd probably do would be to slow the reaction time.
Okay.
I would assume.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Does that seem reasonable?
I think that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I think that we're going to do it as a charm.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And I think what it is
or Beast can, because actually you're commanding things. So
yeah. I think that there's I think there's like a copse of like magnolia trees. Okay, let's get real southern, real slow paced southern flower. There are a bunch of like magnolia trees, and I think like I can make them. I think the Bloom Blessing, I can basically make them. Essentially, what it is they die, unfortunately, but they basically just give every last bit of their essence, highly concentrated, highly powerful, and it's a sort of like it's just a calming sort of miasma, right? Like it blurs the senses a little bit, just sort of slows the reactions, and
awesome.
I wish it didn't kill them, but that's the nature of our magic. So give me everything you got, Magnolias. So I'm gonna roll. What did we say it was? Beastkin?
Let's do Beastkin. That seems like the animal plant kingdom. You're doing those kinds of spells.
Yeah. Let's see. What was my target?
So that'll be a 6. Will be your target.
Oh, so no. It did not go well.
So you will kind of reach out to do that, and that's a 0. So it is visible that you're using magic.
Okay.
So when you go to do that, they'll see that that's going on. They won't recognize exactly what you're doing, but they see, okay, there's somebody using more severe magic. Deltra, what do you want to do?
Oh, Annika, I can't live without you.
I say, Deltra, we're past that. We're past that. That's done. Deltra, that's done. Get back on the clock. We have to coming. Grab your spear or whatever you use.
Okay.
But secretly, I'm like, she was into this. So. I just keep that in the back of keep that in my back pocket for the future. But
awesome.
Yeah.
Right now, we need to worry about these guys coming.
So the situation, Delta. So Rook is over. She's tagged their Chardonnay. These 5, a couple of them are more focused on Dirt and seeing that something's going on here. Some of them are just now kind of getting clued in. Dirt is probably over by you with the scroll, and you're next to Anka, sort of in the middle of this grove. There is, though, kind of a scent of magnolias, kind of. It's kind of come out, and it's almost kind of a rot scent to it that is carrying on the wind.
Sweet rot. Ugh, yeah.
It's filling me with an unnatural confidence I think that Delta normally doesn't have. So she's waiting for that. I'll say, Aka, go get Dirt, and I'm going to run like between 2 of our interested parties, like run straight past them. I'm going to try to find something to hide behind so that I can release my camouflage, so to speak, or my my glamour, and then I will be able to come back out as some unopposing person who they.
Before you
won't be
leave,
familiar
I
with.
grab you on the shoulder and I turn you just slightly and I say, Deltra, you're filled with the power of the elves now. Just know that.
Wow.
That's not even necessarily true, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I look
it's-
way confident.
It seems to me like you're trying to move and draw them off. This seems like a deception check to try and grab the closest to and pull them away a little bit downhill to where you can kind of try and duck out. So let's have you roll deception.
For sure. There you go.
All right, and this is opposed, so that's looks like two successes. Okay, and that does that. Okay, so they are definitely following you, and they are on your heels. They seem to be determined that you're part of whatever's going on, and they need to keep a track on you, and they are coming behind you. So we'll come back to you in just a second. Rook, you'll see two of them take off.
Okay,
There's at least
awesome.
one of them now still focused on Anka and Dirt. Other two are kind of surveying the situation.
All right. The first thing I do is my whole thing is I have to get Anka and Dirt and maybe myself through a narrow passage. So I am looking for the best place for us to exit to, and I will let Anka and Dirt get the head start towards there, and then I will cut off any pursuers. So I'm essentially kind of doing that running tangent, but I'm looking for like a wall or a hedge or something that will slow them if they pursue us.
Okay, so you've got a couple of directions here from this. You could try and break down and maybe out past the line into the woods and kind of come around to another gate, or you could try and move sort of into the more sort of alleyway areas, or try to hit a broader thoroughfare where there are more people.
And so I say to Anka, I say, which do you want, woods or alley?
I think I prefer woods.
All right. And she goes, head on there. I will be on your heels.
Okay, so we'll cut to you, Anka.
Well, do I have Goblin now? Has Goblin, or has not Goblin, Dirt? Has Dirt made it to me? Or
I'll assume that you can grab him up and get a hold
scoop
of
him
that
up,
scroll.
get going.
Yep.
All right. Awesome. I think I even I think I scoop him up and I let him go. You know.
Okay.
And I just I throw him like a softball. Just toss him,
Okay.
across the yard.
There's that.
Yeah, he loves it. He loves it. And I run. Yeah. So just so I'm clear, this is something that Rook's created? Like it's a little.
No.
She's going to close in. She's going to encrypt a passage so when you go through, she'll block it so they can't follow.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I sort of visually understood what was going on. Okay,
At
cool.
least that's what I think the spell means. I could be
All right.
wrong.
I'll bolt, but I'm worried about Deltra though. I mean, I've got the scroll. Do I see Deltra? Do I know where she's at?
Don't worry about me. I totally got this.
Where's she at?
She's headed down the other direction, down a slope, drawing off two of these people.
I can't. I go.
We'll go back and rescue her.
I go back and rescue her.
Below
I
it.
can't. Yeah, I can't. I go.
No.
I go. I'm like, no, and I won't. I just say, Rook, I can't. I won't. Like, Rook, you take the scroll. Is Rook close enough? Can I give it to? Can I toss the scroll?
Let's say yeah. Let's say yes.
Yeah, I say-
'Cause
I
she's
say-
moving over to where you're at.
I say, just go, Rook. I've got this. I can't leave her here. We never leave anybody behind, right? So.
Right. Okay. All right.
Okay, so Rook, you've moved over, assuming that she was going to move. She doesn't. She hands you the scroll. What do you do?
Let's see here then. God, can I hide this thing?
It looks to you, and so I'm going to pause here for a kind of a tradecraft thing. It looks like they're
Yes.
coordinated, and they are probably going to split They probably didn't want to split up, but they realized that there are at least 3 agents here, so they're probably going to have to split to follow each of you, because they want to know where you're going.
Okay. So that's interesting then. I guess I will try to take 1 or 2 of them off and be interesting. So let's see here. I will make for the city.
Okay.
The scroll.
All right. Alleys or thoroughfares? Your.
I'm going alleys.
Okay. So this doesn't take a roll. You will take off with the scroll, and 2 of them of the 5 will move to follow you. There's 1 more that's turning to kind of follow where Anka's going. So you and your pair hit the city. We'll come back to you.
Okay.
Let's deal with Deltra. You've moved down the slope. You've drawn off these 2. Now what do you want to do?
So the scene I'm hoping to have cinematically is like the camera's following these 2 guys running, and they knock over this old lady who looks like an extra. But then the camera kind of zooms in on her. She like reveals her cloak, and it's Deltra.
Okay.
But maybe something goes wrong before that happens.
Well, let's have you. I think that's a deception roll, and you're using your magic to do that.
Well, this would be me. I think I just like appear like an old woman with my posture because I have the grubby cloak on.
Okay.
But this is me releasing that spell and going back to my normal appearance.
Okay. So let's have you. I'm going to have you make a deception roll, because how much they spot of who you are, and how you've turned things around, and how quickly you're able to do that before they lose sight of you.
I'm hoping that my innocence might kick in here too if necessary. Oh, I hit clear instead of roll. Sorry. Okay.
All right. So that will give you against theirs. It will give you 2. So for the moment, they've continued on. They're looking. You have a sense that they're probably going to realize that something's up in just a little bit, but you've shaken them for the moment. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah. I almost
Okay.
I almost kind of would like to catch Akka by surprise too. Like maybe she doesn't even recognize me either. Maybe grab her arm as she's kind of chasing those 2 guys.
That seems like a good cinematic moment. Does that work for you, Anka?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You come down and you'll feel that hand on your shoulder.
Akka. Wait.
I'm saying, I don't have time, old woman. I'm like, back your arm away. So then I'm like,
With
oh,
absolute
disdain.
disdain.
I know, exactly right. I know.
And that is deeply hurtful. Also. No, it's me, Deltra.
I realize that now. I'm sorry. The scroll is safe. Rook has gotten away. She's. Well, I'm just saying that whether it's true or not.
She's got to roll dice.
so-
Who knows?
Anka, there's 1
Okay.
person coming up following you. The other 2 that are here are going to realize in a bit and sweep back this way.
Right.
So what's your next step?
Oh, give me just 1 second. I have to get. I'm not accustomed to all these different talents and skills and stuff, so I have to kind of check them out a little bit. Okay. I just think gosh, I don't know. I think I'll just have my weapon at the ready, but I'm gonna have my weapon at the ready. But I think we're just fighting our way out of here if it comes to it. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. I think the easy answer is probably the right answer here. So,
Okay. This guy comes up on you.
Mhm.
He's the only one.
Mhm.
The other 2 are away. Are you going to strike him?
I do. I have a spear.
All right.
And my spear sings
Okay.
when I use it. So it's not a subtle weapon, unfortunately, but that's
All
okay.
right.
We're fighting in the middle of the prayer grove, so
That's true. So I think that's a precise melee for you.
Okay, let me check that out. Let's see.
And he will be dodging. You're going to need 6s.
Okay, and I'm rolling. You said, what am I rolling?
Precise melee?
Precise melee. Oh, that's the name of the thing. Precise melee.
Yeah,
Okay, got
sorry.
it. All right. Let's see. I got 1 botch, and then what was my target?
A 6.
1 hit. So
Okay,
yeah.
so you bring that up as he comes, and he drops to the side, realizing that the situation has shifted, and he will draw as he kind of rolls and gets a sort of wicked long knife out from under his cloak and gets into a stance. You see that he's got the blade in one hand and his shard in the other. So, Deltra, what do you do?
I think that the marigolds or whatever are starting to wear off, and now I'm a little bit less confident and sure of myself, and I'm kind of patting my cloak for my throwing knife, and I realize that I left it back when they hit me. It fell out of my pocket. So I'm going to have to... I don't know what to do. I'm paralyzed.
Okay. So, holding position there.
Yeah.
Okay. You hear the other two come back. This guy looks like he's going to engage Anka. We're going to cut to right now. Even as this guy comes up with the wicked blade at the elf, we cut to you running into an alley. Rook.
Yes.
Rook, what is your style here? What's your approach with this? Are you going quiet and sneaky? Are you doing, parkour? What's the style that we see in this evasion?
She is, well, I guess she is canny. She's chased a lot of criminals through these kinds of streets, and she knows how you run. She kind of keeps sort of where her center of balance is a little bit lower. She's crouched over. She uses her hands to push against the walls as she's going, and to turn the sharper corners and things like that. So she's playing it very canny.
Okay, so
Is
you're
essentially
really
what she's
kind of
doing.
trying to out-athletics him in some ways.
To get enough room to get into a place where I have enough breathing room to cast the spell to stop him.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Let's have you roll athletics.
Okay, athletics. All right. So that's it. That's it. Okay. Come on, dice.
So you are hitting that, but these alleys are dark. You haven't had a chance to recon them as well as you want, and that guy is coming up on you. You can tell he's caught between deciding whether he needs to try and maintain distance. He realizes that you're being followed, or whether he just needs to come up and deal with you. So he's kind of closing the gap, but he's not sure what to do quite yet. Especially because there's confusion back with the other one. You only see one of the two that was following you.
Okay. Interesting.
All right. We will come back to you and that sequence again in just a moment. So what is do you dodge or parry, Anka?
Well, so let me just so the way I've conceived
Sure.
of her fighting style, as I'm thinking about it here for a bit, is do you remember the Red Viper in Game of Thrones? He's got that long spear. He's fighting the mountain, and it's more of like a swinging thing. Like kind of swinging, like almost like Asian, right? Like not really stabbing as much as like kind of circling and dancing around. And so I think it would be more of a dodge, but I think as I'm doing that, like I think my spear is. I think my spear, like, this doesn't have any mechanical effect, I guess, but I think my spear, it's actually like it's like possessed, like with a banshee, maybe some sort of, or something like that, some sort of spirit that like wails as I swing it around, because I'm trying to instill despair into
Okay,
my enemy.
so you are drawing some attention.
Oh yeah. It's this is big, right? This is an Akka sort of move right now. Like,
All right. So dodge means that I have to target your speed number. So what is your speed number?
My speed number is 8.
8. So this guy comes at you, and you're swinging it around. He cannot get in under that. And so he's kind of falling back. You hear well behind Deltra, 2 people coming. So your action, what do you want to do now, Anka?
I think I can strike, right? Like, is he in a position
absolutely.
where I can hit him? Okay. Yeah, I think I'll try to like spin around, and I'm not going to be quite as merciful, I think, as Rook would normally might be in this situation. I think I'm going to actually try to take him out because I think my spear, I think requires occasional sacrifice because it's an angry, vengeful banshee.
Sure.
And every now and then you draw a little blood. The spear on my paper is described as like blood red wood. So I think I think every now and then you satiate it. Just good for business.
Drink deeply.
All right. Of her blood, or his blood, I guess. This guy.
Precise melee. And you're going to need 6s.
Okay, 6s. Let's see here. Shoot. No. It's terrible.
So you go to do that, and this guy is faster than you expected. And there is that bit when you kind of come in, and he weaves, and you will sink that spear tip into one of these magnolia trees. And there's that bit where you're trying to get it free from there. Deltra, you see her do that and kind of get stuck.
Okay, yeah, that's my call to action for sure. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, would you say fictionally I have the capability of fighting this guy with my hands and fists, or am I going to need a weapon?
So unarmed is a legitimate thing you can do, and I believe that is just brute melee.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for a tackle.
Okay.
Which is again very unlike Deltra. She much prefers to be prepared, but.
All right, let's have you roll that brute melee. His dodge target is a 6.
So I have to get 6 successes, or I have to get plus?
Oh, we have to get
6 or up.
Plus.
Okay. So 1 success.
1 success. Let's see. So 1 success means that you will.
Oh no!
The botch. So you will hit into the side of him and knock him back. Do you want to do damage, or you want to knock him down?
Just want to knock him down. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll say that you don't do damage, but you knock him down on that round. The other 2 are going to be here next round. They're going to be coming back. Okay. Just to tell you what's going on with that. We cut back to Rook. There's one guy behind you. You're not sure where the other one is.
Even with my pinging? Even though I know where that shard
is?
Yes.
So I apologize. You have the tracking. So there's the one guy behind you. The other one is circling around, trying to kind of get in front of you. He is taking the main thoroughfare, and he is booking to try and cut you off.
Perfect. I whirl around, and I swing my club to hit the hand that has the shard in it.
Okay.
And that's, I got to cut off the conversation here.
That is a brute melee.
Okay. I'm not very good at it, but...
Okay. And this guy is a 4 for that.
Okay. Good. That's what I like to hear. I have a fighting chance.
He's better at parrying.
I got 3 successes.
And does your club do extra damage?
It says plus 0 damage. However, it's concealable, dirty, short,
okay,
and curved and named. It's persuasion.
So
I ask him nicely for a shard.
Okay. So 3 points is a huge wound. Okay. That is the game calls that if you take 3 hit points in a hit, you are in very bad shape. That's a critical hit, and essentially you actually shatter his forearm. And
Mister, you're the
there's
one
that-
that get that looked at.
he will drop the shard and stagger back, and he's bleeding badly. Okay,
I said,
from
very
that.
sorry, very sorry. This is business, you know. I pick up his shard. Okay.
Okay, we'll cut back to Akka.
Gotta go. There.
Akka, this guy's on the ground.
Mhm.
Deltra's knocked him over. There are 2 more coming. What do you want to do?
If we split right now, like, and don't worry about this guy, will we have to engage those other 2 guys, or will we be in the clear here?
You I would say that you 2 would have to make some kind of athletics check to kind of gain some ground, but
Okay.
you could.
I think I just want to run. I think I pull the I try to pull the spear out of the tree, but it doesn't want to quite come because like it's busy like drinking the life force out of the tree.
Yes.
Or
Or those petals are falling.
right,
down.
yeah, like the leaves are falling off and like it's sort of like desiccating slightly and getting black. And I'm like, not now, dear. And I pull it out, and there's a whale, right? A sort of like resentful, bitter whale, small. And I say, let's get out of here, Deltra. Let's go.
Okay.
And I look at that guy on the ground, and I was like, you're very lucky.
So this is going to be an athletics check.
Says the
to
person who
gain
totally
ground.
missed on their hit.
Yes. You're going to want 6s on this. The number of successes is going to kind of determine how many of these guys you can kind of peel off here.
So escape artistry is more like when you're in handcuffs or something, right?
Well, let's see. Break out of bonds, escape pins, contort oneself, get out of tight places.
Okay.
You can also use that for evading injury, achieving tactical advantages, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So, Anka, let's have you roll.
Okay. I'm sorry, Lowell. What am I rolling again? Which stat?
You're going to be rolling athletics,
Athletics. Okay.
looking for 6s or above.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, I got 2.
Oh, 2. So, yeah, you will book off. Let me ask this now, Deltra. I assume you wish to run?
Yes.
Okay. With Anka or splitting off in a different direction?
I think I'll split a different direction. Yeah.
Okay. So let's have you roll that athletics. You just want to get yourself a little bit of room here.
Ooh. There's a botch. So
Now
that's
you
0.
could use one of the 4
Oh, yeah, that's right. The little luck
negations
rolls.
here. Give yourself a
should do it.
success.
Okay, I'll go for that just to try
Okay.
it out. So just re-roll the same thing.
No, actually, all it does is it eliminates that botch on the fate die,
Okay.
and you get to keep your success.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got 2 of these guys peeled off, and I was peeled off on that. So here is what is going to happen. Deltra, you're quieter. You don't have a wailing spear, so you will kind of break off. Pretty sure you don't have anybody following you. The 2 that are pursuing have kind of split because they're trying to figure out. It's dark out here. They're not sure. Anka, you're pretty sure one is on your tail,
Right.
but the other 2 are still back at the grounds. So tell me what direction you are heading in.
So I actually have a talent here called Pole Vaulter. I can make impossible jumps as long as I have my spear with me. So
Awesome.
I think I'm gonna do a massive, incredible leap up to a tall building, and Spider-Man style.
Okay.
I assume it could be a vertical jump. It doesn't really specify.
Yeah,
on the sheet,
absolutely.
but, yeah.
So let's do that as athletics,
Okay.
and let's say that your pole vaulting will reduce the difficulty down to a 4. How does that sound?
I love it. That sounds great. Let's see here. Always takes me a minute to find everything on the sheet. Okay. here we go.
Yeah.
3 hits total. So with
3.
botch.
That is a superb success. This guy is behind you, trying to catch up. They've clearly decided that they just need to kill you guys. Following you back is less of import now, and he's trucking back. And there is that leap.
Mm-hmm.
Does he see you do it, or do you get up there and he looks around and doesn't see you?
He hears it because the spear wails the whole time, right?
Okay,
but it gets quieter and quieter as I jump up high in the building.
Yeah, and so he is looking around. He's paused because he's by himself. You're out of his sight, so he is moving much more cautiously, and you are getting distance away from here. Let's cut to Deltra. What is your tactic once you've got some room?
So I'm heading into the city too. Maybe trying to link up with Rook. And I'm kind of doing my own Spider-Man thing too, except mine is more crawling and reaching through really tight spaces and not just alleys but gutters and windows.
So it's the parkour, but kind of jumping in and getting quickly. Okay. So using escape artistry for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a little rodent. I mean, if that works for escape.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's have you roll.
Pretty sure I have a 4. Let me double check. Yes.
And I'm going to say you need 4s because this is only about maybe drawing their attention. So
that should be 3 successes then.
Oh yeah, then you are tunnel ratting it through these buildings here, and they don't know where you went. Rook, this guy falls back. You've got his shard. You can hear communications in the shard, the echoes. They are clearly using a key phrase, so you won't hear what they're saying. This guy falls back because he's critically injured. What do you want to do?
Essentially, he falls back. I do want to take something like his cloak pin or something that clearly belongs to him and has been with him through this situation.
Okay.
Does that make
the
any
shard
sense?
would function as that.
Okay, so I can do psychometry on a shard?
Yes.
That's super powerful. Okay, I'm cool with that. So essentially, I'm just going to leave him in the dirt and cut kind of back. Since I know where the other guy's going around, I'm going to make it so that it's a much further path for him to catch up with me now. So,
okay.
Yeah.
You want to do athletics for that again? Or deception?
I actually think deception is more what I'm working on here.
Okay, then let's do that.
It's being tricky, right? That's what we got. So I don't know what I'm trying to roll.
Oh, so let's say 6s.
Okay, so I got 1 success.
Okay. So yeah, I would say actually 4s because you know where the guy's at. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So
Okay, good. Then I got 3 successes.
So you lose this guy. He is trying to find his buddy. He thinks he's dead because the shard's out. He's not getting any communications. He's still trying to follow you, but you've lost sight. There are 4 of them. They're trying to coordinate, but they've lost you guys.
Okay. When I get a breather, I will do the psychometry to hear what their passphrase is.
So
I can hear them using that.
You won't hear that because when they do the passphrase, it's
Well, they don't say it out loud.
they say that. Don't say it out loud. There.
Okay. All right, then forget that.
No, but you've got that shard, so you can gather other info from that.
Mm-hmm. But they're sending clear text at all.
Right. So we will cut to careful maneuvering. You guys going through the city, making sure you're not tailed, communicating with one another, and eventually getting back to Grumble Crag, who is staying. He's clearly been waiting up for you. He's got a pot of dwarven tea on. You can smell it. It's it's super strong, like that black tea, and he puts like 8 tablespoons in the pot, for it. And he's like, oh, you guys are back, okay? Well, I just happened to be up, so you can have some tea if you want tea.
The tea offends the senses.
It's delicious. Thank you.
I take a cup and I only pretend to drink from it.
Damn my heightened sense of smell, I say, as I step away to the back of the room.
And it does. You have been in a dwarven shop for several days, and there are a whole panoply of odors that you've had to deal with here. You will get a message probably another hour or two later, essentially checking in to confirm that you were able to return back. And
what does the scroll say?
What is this scroll? That's a very good question, Rook. What is this thing?
I mean, it was dark, so I couldn't read while I was running in the street.
The scroll is encrypted. It's a short, handwritten, maybe a paragraph.
Okay.
And you will get instructions. It will say, tomorrow, you need to come to the Throne House Square, to the juggler's tent there. Bring the scroll, and everything will be explained at that point.
Okay.
So, what do people in this universe do to try to break encryption? Is there any method for that?
Breaking encryption requires that you get the key phrase, and there are several ways to do that. Torture, magic, psychometry. Since torture is generally, not effective, other magical means are usually more legitimate. Blackmail, bribery, all of those kinds of things.
Okay.
Scrying. There's a host of alternate approaches to get those.
But they all lead toward the key phrase. That's important, right? You got to have that.
Got to have that.
Okay.
Rook, is there any way we can get the key phrase? I'm worried. I don't know if this mission is all above the books, man.
Is there any way we can get the key phrase?
Can you use your spells? Is there anything?
I agree with Deltra. This all just seems so strange. They have us stealing a scroll right out from under their own noses. It doesn't make any sense.
What does the scroll remember? Yes.
Okay, so you want to do psychometry on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me have you. Let's see what the roll is on psychometry here.
And they had that weird guy following us. Yeah, this is very shady.
Okay. Let's have you. It's going to be 3 magic points, and let's have you roll query.
Oh, come on. It's like my worstest. What am I trying to hit?
So let's say
It's unopposed.
it's unopposed. So let's say 6, 50-50.
I made it. I got 1 success anyway.
So you will have a vision. There is a terrified person writing this out. They're clearly under duress. And they will encrypt it with a key phrase that they will have to say out loud.
Ooh, and that is?
And you will get the key phrase.
I hear it.
Purple monkey dishwasher.
Yes, I knew it.
Purple monkey dishwasher.
What does that even mean?
That is the fallback catchphrase for any
got
kind of
it.
codes in our group.
Got it.
And
so
yes.
Let me find the text. I just had this a second ago. And it's a short note, and it says, Sir, I regret to inform you that I have been lying to you the entire time, telling you what you wanted to hear because I felt it pleased you. The story of Lady Zol, she's one of the nobles, visiting the estate was entirely invented, as were my characterizations of the Arak family. It's another one of the noble families. I will be leaving the city for good because I fear your reprisal. I am also ashamed that I have betrayed and spied on the noble family that generously offered me employment. I have not informed them nor the constabulary of my treachery, so I beg you not to send your agents after me. Please let this simple urchin live in peace.
And she knows that was written under duress, too.
Mhm.
Yes.
That is so good. I love that little scene. Oh.
Yeah, you probably hear her voice kind of echoing as you get that and hear the catchphrase and then read through this.
Okay.
So to be clear, this urchin who wrote this letter, or allegedly wrote this letter, like what? I should make sure I understood what happened just then.
So apparently there was an urchin who wrote this letter and was sending it to Lord Glower.
Right.
So clearly in the employ of Lord Glower.
Right.
But this letter was written, she was clearly forced to write it.
She was forced to write it. Yeah, okay. All right.
So basically, there was this noblewoman who went to this manor, but they're saying that she did not, that was all the story.
Right, yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
worry, please don't kill me.
And don't
I'm
tell
probably
anyone
already
about
dead.
anything. Yeah.
Right.
So, all right.
Hmm.
Okay.
So I assume you will go to see Lord Glower to meet the next day?
Mhm.
Yeah. Are we taking it to a jester, you said?
Well, the
The
jester's
juggling
tent.
tent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the shift would be, we've still got that piece of paper and we're still kind of focused in on it in your hand. And when the camera shifts, it's in another person's hand and we kind of pull back and you three are there. You can hear the carnival atmosphere outside. Lord Glower is a kind of intense figure, a beard that is braided, eyes of two different colors, human, perhaps in his late 50s. He's dressed. Pardon?
Kind of cute, or 50s kind of going to seed.
50s. He's got that distinguished actor look.
Awesome. All right.
You'll see the
Well,
agent.
I'll lean back against the table so my backless armor is, I'm going, she was completely under duress, so.
His agent Tidhar is there as well, and when Glower utters the key phrase and reads this, he kind of goes pale, and he will say, "Oh, this is not good." And he hands you the letter now that it's been decrypted. Now that you know the decryption phrase, so that he has you read it. Do you act as if you haven't read it before, or?
No. Well, I mean, I don't act anyway. I just say to him, I can tell that she wrote this under duress. I can feel it coming off the letter.
Yes. I have to explain the situation because I need your help.
Good.
In two respects. There is the election for the Patriarch coming up soon. And the current Patriarch is unstable, and I had thought that I had secured 2 other votes to back my nomination to bring things back to the center. But a few weeks ago, Lady Zoll, who I thought was my ally, paid an unexpected visit to House Arak. One of the other houses, a despicable bunch. After that, she declared that she would not be supporting me. I have an agent, or had an agent, I don't know, a young woman named Vanna, who I had trained and had hired to keep an eye on things in House Arak. She had been sending me messages. I fear now that she has been uncovered. And he will pull out, he has another letter that is from her. He says, she sent this less than a week ago. And it tells a very different story. And I will post this text of it,
Okay.
but I'll quickly go through it for you guys here. And it's essentially, my time is running out. It is likely only a matter of time until I am summoned to Master Urik's office. I've seen him flog a servant who stole a spoon until the sinew under his flesh shone. And I assume Anka is wide-eyed at that point. He's as bad as servants say he is. Gods know what he would do to a spy. I am so close to getting access to the ancestral tomb to see what gave Lady Zoll such a fright that she left the castle pale and distraught. I will make one more attempt tonight and give one final report, but after this I will no longer participate in this operation. It is too dangerous, and I'm convinced that the Aurochs would do much worse than you would. After hours, I began to teach one of the maids the basics of cryptomancy, and in the process, compelled her to use her passphrase to Castle Auroch as an example. In case I need to be extracted, Servant Lauren's passphrase is Mountain Horses Wonders, encrypted with the same. She arrives daily at dusk by wagon and serves in the guest wing. She lives in a gray tenement near the north wall. She's old and mean.
I like that detail. She's old and mean. Just a little drive-by insult to
He will say, I have given you shelter, and I will continue to do so, but I need your assistance. I need you to infiltrate this manor. I need to know what happened with Lady Zoll, and I wish my agent retrieved. I wish her rescued. I've put her in this situation, and I would not have her suffer unduly for what I've done.
I
Do you
don't
think
know.
you could do this?
I care nothing for your aspirations to be the patriarch. I say down with the patriarchy, frankly.
Ask me about my elvish agenda.
But I gather our hands are kind of tied on this. Like, do we have to help him? Is it like in terms of like, are we? I want to make are we being like blackmailed into doing this? Like to working for him? Like, what's the nature of our relationship?
Yeah, he is gently saying that, I've done well by you.
He's kept us safe. Got it. Okay.
I keep you safe, and I will continue to keep you safe, but I need something in return.
Normally, I would say down with the patriarchy. I say, continuing my speech, but you have ably and graciously kept us safe, and so I suppose we can help you out with this. What say you, Rook and Deltra?
I say Vanna certainly doesn't deserve any of this. Sure.
I'll whisper to the group or through the shardnet or whatever, just between the three of us. We have no choice. He knows too much. If we stopped, he wouldn't just kick us out of out of Gumblecrags, he would.
I
he
know
would
that,
expose
Deltra.
us.
I'm just trying to have a little bit of dignity here.
Oh, right. Dignity. Right. Okay. And I'll say out loud, okay, yeah, we can do it.
But we won't like it. So.
I understand. And let me tell you about the situation, and that's kind of where the episode fades out and where we'll take up next time. I will post.
That sounds great.
I'll post the notes, the 2 letters in the folder. And we'll do Thorns and Roses after we've done both sessions. We'll do that at the end of things, and we'll kind of start out. He'll give you a little bit of reward that you can kind of choose how you want to spend at the beginning of next time, and we'll do the whole information gathering and planning out the caper. Sound good?
Yes.
Awesome. Yep.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much. That was fun.
Yeah, it
for
was really
me.
fun. Had a good time.
I enjoyed it.
All
All right.
It was nice to meet you, Sherry.
It was good to meet you, Jason
Nice meeting with
and
you guys.
Yeah, good to see you again, Michael.
Mike.
Awesome. I will talk to you guys later.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.